Hello folks, this is Sullla once again. You're listening to another video for League of Legends, and this game we're going to watch is a spectator mode video of a high Elo Syndra game. Yes, you guys might, if you watched the patch note video that I did a couple days ago, you might have noticed that I said that I think Syndra is a very, very strong option for mid lane play. I had the chance to spectate this game using the Spectate Anyone client. This is a high elo game. It's turned out to be a very interesting game. There's quite a few pro players in this game, but we're going to use this game as an example to watch some high elo play involving Syndra. This is at about 2100 elo by my best mark. Anyway, so to go through the players in the game, again, quite a few pro players in this game. Wings of Death playing as Blitzcrank, Chaos playing as Vayne, DJ Lambo jungling as Lee Sin, and then players I'm not as familiar with, Monkaro supporting as Janna, and the Silent God playing as Zillion. On the other side, we have Aphromoo. This is one of his accounts. Aphromoo playing as Ezreal, X Special playing as Leona, the amusing grudge match between Chaos, the AD player for solo mid, and X Special, the support player for solo mid, on opposite teams here. Then some players I'm not as familiar with, Dai Jurjur playing as Olaf, B9 Sentinel playing as Jarvan, and Raimus playing as Syndra. So we're going to keep an eye on that bottom lane that has Chaos, Aphromoo, and X Special playing in it. Keep an eye on that bottom lane, but mostly the focus is going to be on Syndra. And in fact, it looks like blue team has a trap set up here, so keep an eye on this. I did pre-watch this game, so I know a little bit about what's going to happen. So go ahead and try to get this set up and up. X Special's coming in to place that ward. They know he's going to be here, and oh dear. That, that is not what he was looking for right there. So this is an example of high elo players knowing one another's tendencies, knowing that oftentimes the supports like to ward at the enemy Wraith camp, and then just setting a trap using Blitzcrank grab to set up a pretty easy kill for first blood. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and set up the scoreboard down here, one of the nice things about spectator mode, and let's go ahead and look at Syndra. By the way, I love the alternate Syndra skin, the Judicator Syndra skin. This one is much, much better in my opinion than the default skin. Sometimes there's not that big of a difference. This one I like a lot more than the default skin. Anyway, so Syndra, again, when Syndra came out, she was one of the weakest champions in the game. She was really underpowered. She had one of the lowest win rates in the game. I've said before that she was considered to be Karma tier. She had like a 30% win rate, and she was barely played. However, since then, her abilities have been getting buffed over and over and over again, repeatedly, and now she's actually a very strong mid option. She is a burst caster who can burst people down really quickly, but also has a lot of utility in team fights as well. So she's best at 1v1, but she does reasonably well in team fights as well. Her job in a team fight will be to burst down the most important target on the enemy team, and then try to keep DPSing from there. Alright, so let's look at her abilities. Again, her passive Transcendence is her spells gain extra effects at max rank, so you want to max her skills. That's pretty typical for most champs, but they all get extra effects. Her Q gets bonus damage to champions, her W increases the slow duration, E increases the width of the stun effect, and the ult, the range gets increased. And that's a pretty big deal. Again, I've mentioned before that range buffs are one of the biggest things you can do to increase the power of a champion. That was just added in the most recent patch as I watched this. By the way, another kill up in top lane for blue team. By the way, Wings of Death is playing top lane Blitz, something you don't see very often, but he's playing it and he's already up a kill now in that top lane. Alright, so Syndra skills, actually the Lee Sin targeting circle comes down. We'll see if this turns into a successful gank. Just keep an eye on this. Her skills, the one that you max first, the one that you put a point in first, is her Q, Dark Sphere. Conjures a sphere that deals magic damage, remains, and then can be used by other Syndra abilities, is the idea right there. So this is a little bit like a Karthus Lay Waste. It's a little bit like Cassiopeia's poison thing. I don't know the name of that skill off the top of my head, unfortunately, but it's a little bit like both of their skills. Point your cursor, and then a sphere appears after a delay, a short delay. I think it's about 1 second before it appears. We've got another fight going on somewhere. Let's keep an eye on this top lane. 1-for-1 trade so far. Both junglers up there. Looks like both junglers were killed underneath that tower. So as I said, point the mouse cursor and the dark sphere appears after like 1 second or so. So it's a skill shot. Actually, all of Syndra's skills are skill shots. That's one of the issues. Oh, right there, Syndra's going to hit on her stun. Follow that up with follow that up with her W, and Zilean's going to have to use his speed up to run away, and then he's going to have to flash out as Syndra flashes after the chase. So not quite able to get that kill, but the Zilean player is going to have to recall, and that's going to give Syndra the lane advantage, because the Syndra player will be able to push this to tower and make Zilean lose out on some minions while Zilean's back at base spying. So again, just the small little advantages that accrue over time is the idea there. Alright, again, maxing Dark Sphere first. Like I said, skill shot, not guaranteed to hit, but it is used by her other abilities as well. And there's another kill in top lane. So that Olaf player having a bit of a rough start so far to this point in time in the game. And Syndra's going to go back, so we'll keep an eye on this bottom lane. Anyway, right now both ADs are low. Kaox and Aphromoo are both quite low here. So right here, Afro's going to go in, and he is going to get that kill. Let's go back and watch that again. I was waiting for this play because, as I said, I did see this before. Anyway, right there is the sort of the initial buy play there. So again, both Vayne and Ezreal are low. So let's go ahead and watch this. Ezreal's going to blink in with the Arcane Shift. He's going to use his Ignite. Kaox cleanses the Ignite, but Aphro's able to finish it off with one more Mystic shot. So again, fairly high level play there. Just going to show sort of how fast the pro players are able to do that. Again, Aphromoo used Ignite, Kaox cleansed it, Kaox tumbled out of the way, but a Mystic shot still hit. And now Moncro is getting engaged upon by X Special, and Aphromoo is going to finish that off. X Special tanks the tower, 50 HP, gets out perfectly. So that means that the bottom lane of Red Team now has an advantage in that lane. Okay, so we're back to mid. What did Syndra pick up? Picked up Boots. She actually has gone for the early Chalice, is going for Athene's Unholy Grail as sort of the first item. That's a pretty standard build, very good on Syndra. She has, I wouldn't say that she has huge mana issues, but she will have some issues running out if she doesn't get that early Chalice. Gives the extra magic resistance, and her cooldowns are a little bit on the long side, so she can really use the cooldown reduction from Athene's Unholy Grail as well. So it's a very useful item on her. Alright, other skills. W, Force of Will. Again, this is a strange skill to use. I haven't played much Syndra, but it's kind of weird to use. The first time you hit W, it grabs a nearby Dark Sphere or minion. If no target's selected, it grabs the nearest Dark Sphere. So you first hit W to pick something up, then you hit W again to throw the Dark Sphere or enemy minion. It deals magic damage, and whoever's hit gets slowed. Again, this is another skill shot in terms of how it's used. So you pick up something and throw it at the enemy. It's a little tricky to use because you kind of have to lead your target. You have to lead wherever you're throwing. Otherwise, it can be a little hard to hit them. But it does slow, and you do get more. I believe you get more slow in this as you put more points into the skill. So again, there's the Dark Sphere put down. Here is the toss. Well, sooner or later, there it is. It doesn't deal much damage at the first point. But again, gives her another skill. Again, her Q deals the most damage, but her W then slows, gives you another damaging ability. There is the stun onto Zilean right there. Is she going to follow it up? There's another W. There is the ultimate, but it's not going to be enough to finish off Zilean. Still, it did get him quite low. Nice job by the Silent God not to burn Zilean ultimate right there. So, let's go ahead and cover other skills. Go ahead and cover the E, Scatter the Weak. Missed on that stun right there. And note that Syndra is out of mana now. Again, like I said, her mana costs are a little bit high until she's able to pick up more mana regeneration items. Okay, again, so Scatter the Weak knocks enemies and Dark Spheres back, deals magic damage to them. Dark Spheres that are knocked back stun enemies in their pass for 1.5 seconds. Now, because this is spectator mode, I can't show the cone in which this operates, but it's basically a little cone in which enemy minions and Dark Spheres get knocked back. There, Syndra is picking up the blue buff and throwing it. Yes, you can pick up the Golem and the Lizard. Can't pick up Dragon or Baron, but you can pick up Golem and Lizard buff. So, the way that you play Syndra is, the basic idea is to set things up using her stun. Is you toss down the Dark Spheres, have them out on the map, you knock someone, hit the stun, which allows you to hit your Q. If they're stunned, you can obviously hit your Q because they can't dodge it. And then that locks them in place to use her ultimate. This is just sort of a straight nuke, draws upon Syndra's full powers, causes all Dark Spheres to deal magic damage per sphere. So the more spheres are out there on the map, the more damage you deal. You can, if you have 2 or 3 of them out there at once, you'll deal more damage with your ultimate. It has this effect where all of the spheres get hurled towards the casting target. It actually looks pretty cool when it's used, and it deals pretty good damage. You know, it's single target, of course. It's not area of effect, single target damage, but it's quite good at using that. Anyway, here we have an initiation in bottom lane, focusing on Janna. Monkuro hits on a nice tornado to knock back. Now the fight is on. Chaos has popped ultimate right here. Keep an eye on this fight. I'll try to slow it down. There's the knockback, but it's not enough. Chaos gets bursted down. Did not have enough damage. Now, are they going to be able to finish off Janna as well? There's the Leona initiation. Needs to hit on that stun. Janna's shield comes out. Not going to be enough, but another one trade in the bottom lane. Once again, X Special gets out on very low health after tanking that tower. Alright, so trying to keep an eye on that bottom lane due to the well-known players down there. Alright, so here's the Dark Sphere. There's a Dark Sphere out here. So Zilean has to be aware that he can get stunned if he puts that out. Another minion picked up and going to get tossed over into the Wraith Pit, but it looks like the Wraiths weren't there. So again, Syndra, let's see, are we going to be able to get there? There's a Jarvan initiation with his standard. Jumping in, Zilean does not have flash up. There's the stun, and Zilean should be finished off. Okay, he is going to die. He has put his ult on himself. There is the Syndra ult, and look at the burst on the DJ Lambo. So shifting targets to go on to Lee Sin, and he just gets absolutely exploded. There's the flash into the W, what's the name of that skill again? I'm afraid I don't know all her abilities. Force of Will. Flash, if Syndra had hit on the slow, probably would have been able to hit on the Dark Sphere, but Flash for a counter Flash. And wow, look at this, picking up and just throwing the minion out of the way that has the time bomb on it. Wow, that's really amusing. Syndra did pick up double buff. Oh no, not double buff, just picked up red when Syndra killed Lee Sin. So it did pick up a first kill there, and has also grabbed the Sorcerer's Shoes. Right there, there's the stun, has now been hit on the Zilean. This going in for another fight. Double time bomb. Scatter gets the kill, and nope, the Ignite and time bomb, not quite enough there. What is this again? Force of Will. Force of Will got the kill right there. I'll go back and see if we can see this fight again. So the initial stun, there is the Zilean double bomb, but a Syndra Q and a Syndra W finishes off that particular kill. And is able to come out on top in that particular fight. Probably could have gone back better, but I'm not going to watch it yet again. Meanwhile, another fight going on in bottom lane. It looks like Janna has fallen once again. It has not been the best game for Janna thus far. Excuse me. Chaos popped Vayne ult, but was not able to get a kill. And Aphromu's pretty firmly ahead in this lane right now. Once Ezreal gets that VF sword, it's pretty hard to trade. So 163 AD. On Ezreal, Vayne has not as much, I'm sure. 116, yeah. So really difficult to trade if you're down a BF sword in lane, particularly if Leona is able to use her package of crowd control. Makes it very tough. So again, red team is ahead in that bottom lane. Blue team is ahead in top. Actually, Wings is pretty far ahead in this top lane. He's 301. Playing as laning Blitzcrank, something we don't see very often. Alright, so with advantage in bottom lane's pushed a turret, advantage in mid lane's pushed a turret. Are they going to try to go and take Dragon off of this? Does not look like it. Potentially could have done so, but chose not to. Anyway, there is a miss on that Syndra stun. What is it? Scatter the Weak? Scatter the Weak. I'm going to try to learn these names. Scatter the Weak, Force of Will, and Dark Sphere are the names. And then Unleash Power. That's fairly generic. Unleash Power. Alright, so Zilean, let's see, just to check out what Zilean's doing, Syndra has picked up a Fiendish, what is it, Fiendish Codex, is that what it's called? Yeah, Fiendish Codex. Actually bought 2 Fairy Charms right at the start of the game, turned one into the Chalice, turned the other one into the Fiendish Codex, and has also picked up the Sorc Shoes. Those are the 2 components of Unholy Grail. Zilean, meanwhile, got an early tier, he got stunned, and there is the ultimate. Wow, it's not quite going to do enough damage, but Zilean is going to be forced to burn ult, and he's going to be chased out of lane right here. So yeah, there is the burst power of Syndra right there. Once, if she can just hit on one stun, there it is again. What was that? Picked up the minion, already had the minion pick up in place while was in the act of doing that whole stun there, because I can't quite seem to talk here. Anyway, so it looks like the jungle Lee Sin just got killed right there by an Ezreal True Shot Barrage. Didn't quite see how that was happening. Zilean was forced back to base. Zilean was taken down to 10% health. So this is now an opportunity for the red team to go ahead and claim that dragon. Excuse me. Go ahead and claim that dragon right there. So again, the basic idea is try to hit on that stun. This Syndra player, Raimus, has already had a minion picked up and ready to throw as the stun is landing, so can hit immediately, like right there, using the minion toss. Has had a W ready to go as soon as the stun hits to be able to do that combo. So I think the basic idea is pick up something to throw with W. Then try to stun them with E. If you successfully hit on the stun with E, you can then use the minion toss again for the damage. Land a Q because the other person is locked in place, they can't move, and then use ult there as well. So, I mean, looking at Syndra's skills right now, 400 damage on ult, 200 damage on the Force of Will, and about 250, 260 damage on the Dark Sphere. And it should be, well, Zilean does have some magic resistance. I was going to say fairly close to true damage, but Zilean does have some MR. Alright, so right now, there are 2 Dark Spheres here, so this is, again, trying to set up the stun right there. There's the stun. There is the ult, and oh my goodness gracious, that Cinder Burst right there. So again, note how the Dark Spheres set up that whole play. Let's go back and watch this again, and I'll slow it down. Okay, so there's 1 Dark Sphere there, 2 Dark Spheres there. So now Zilean, if he wants to come back to his tower, he's going to have to walk through the Dark Sphere. Right there, there is the stun. There's an auto attack, W to pick one up. And there is the ultimate, and Zilean can't even get his own ultimate off to save himself. He just gets blown up way, way, way too fast. And right there, that's the power of Syndra. Zilean put himself in a bad spot right here. He was in a place where it would have been really tough to get out. Right there, 1 for 1 in top lane, both top laners going down. However, because it's a shutdown on Blitzcrank, that's more of an advantage for red team, and they are about 3,000 gold ahead. Still, Syndra clearly winning this lane. See how much gold Syndra's sitting on. Over 2,000 gold. What is she going to buy? A Doran's Ring and a needlessly large rod. So not finishing the Unholy Grail, opting to go for more damage instead. Now it's 171 AP, and now is quite a bit ahead of Zilean. Zilean has not really finished an item. He's going for a bunch of different item components, tier, lucky pick, and the Chalice of Harmony. So he is pieces of a bunch of different items, but Zilean is a lot weaker than Syndra right now, and that really shows, I think. Alright, so Lee Sin here as well. Syndra has also been almost perma blue buffed. She's been stealing the blues. Right there is going to hit on the stun, and it's a good thing for Lee Sin that the Syndra ult is not up. There it is up! My goodness gracious. Completely missed that. Yeah, ult on a bit of a short cooldown. Oh wow, only 60-second cooldown with blue. That's way too short. There's another stun. W and Q hitting, and oh, the damage. Just way, way, way too high. Zilean's going to try to double bomb. Zilean's going to ult himself right there. Syndra's still trying to escape. Now Zilean comes back to life, gets revived. Syndra going to flash over the wall. There's another stun, puts down the Q, and immediately uses E for the stun. Throws down W as well for the slow, and Zilean has now revived, but he's not going to be able to chase down that kill. So once again, 4-0 Syndra. Raimus really giving a good example of how to play Syndra in this game. And I admit I have not seen a lot of Syndra play, but the Syndra play I have seen suggests that she's a very strong champ. That ult is on way too short of a cooldown. Her ult is already almost off cooldown. Look at that. It's already just 5 seconds away from cooling down. That's way too short. Like I said, no, never mind. We got an angry Blitzcrank running in. Wings is going to chase in here, and Zilean's going to speed him up and allow him to escape from that particular fight. Otherwise, mana barrier plus the speed up. Now Wings is trapped in the Jarvan Cataclysm, but is Jarvan actually going to win this fight? There's a double bomb on his head, and no, he is not going to win that fight. Wings is going to run out. Where's that Karthus ult? Here comes Olaf. Is Olaf going to be able to chase this down? I'm not sure. Blitzcrank has that overdrive. He just has to pop his W, and he can just run right out. And yeah, Wings is going to make it out of here. And that's going to be another strong play. Meanwhile, though, the fight continues. Here comes Aframo. Here comes X Special down to bottom lane. Are they going to be able to chase down Zilean? Yes, they are going to be able to chase him down. Chrono Shift ultimate, not off of cooldown, not able to do anything. So this is an example of where bottom lane for red team has already won. They're ahead. They have left bottom lane, and they went mid and were able to make a bit of a play there, get some push on the tower, and able to get in some damage. Players are chatting about the last kill on Syndra. So anyway, Raimus now finally has finished his Unholy Grail. That'll give him, again, the cooldown reduction, the mana regen. And right there, Janna taking a little bit of harass. Again, you can pick up a Dark Sphere, throw it forward with W, throw it forward with Scatter, Force of Will. That's what it's called. There's the stun. It's the Syndra ult up, and oh, there is the burst once again. Lee Sin just gets stunned, something gets picked up and thrown into him, and then the ult comes out for the burst, and he just melts underneath the damage coming out from Syndra. That is 5 kills now from Syndra. Once again, there's another Q into E stun, and Wings is not really able to do anything. So Syndra really strong here. I mean, again, she's all skill shots. You have to be able to hit those skill shots, but if you can, she deals a lot of damage. Wings continuing to go in. Mono Shield Barrier has been popped. Should be able to run out of this though, and looks like this fight's going to be disengaged without anything further going on. Meanwhile, there's a big time dive going on in bottom lane. Looks like Chaos under a lot of pressure right there, and again, that bottom lane just has not gone very well for blue team thus far. Vayne has been able to farm, you know, and is doing decently, but Aphromoo has 5 kills, and that's not good. Anyway, the fight continuing. Double bomb onto Aphromoo's head. Oh, he will just barely survive, but gets finished off by DJ Lambo's kick. Well, not his kick, his Q from Lee Sin. Able to finish that one off. A nice skill shot right there. So the battle for this red buff continuing. Both sides looks like they're going for it. Syndra has been spotted by a ward. Don't know if she knows this or not. There's the stun onto Lee Sin. He's going to continue to chase after Syndra, but no, does not finish her off. Raimus is still alive. Kicks up another kill right now. Chaos has popped ultimate. He's chasing after X Special. The AD on support action right there. Grudge match from Team Solo mid. Will get that kill. Now chasing onto Olaf as well. Gets stunned by Syndra once again. Picking up the lizard buff and throwing it into Wings of Death. Will he be able to get out of this? There's an angry Blitzcrank still chasing after this one. There's another stun, but Chaos will finish this off. Will he fall? Yes, will fall to Olaf, but that's a 2-for-1 for blue team. Now Jarvan there on cleanup duty, but Wings is going to grab Jarvan. Can he make it back to the safety of a tower? And going to get knocked up by Janna. No, does not make it out. Does trade 1-for-1. He does get the kill on Zilean. Lots of action. Now Aphromoo is back into the fight. But I think Wings is going to be able to run out of this one. He doesn't have a tower there, but Ezreal does not have red buff. Is not going to slow. Does Ezreal have ult? Yes, he does. So we'll see if that comes out. Keep an eye on Aphromoo. See if he tries to True Shot Barrage onto these two, but it doesn't look like it's going to hit. Nope, they're going to be able to get their recall off. Nope, going to use True Shot on the bottom minion wave. Actually, going to ult nothing. I think he may have been checking for red buff to see if it was up. That's the best thing I can think of. Alright, so a lot of action there. I'm not sure quite who that benefited. Looked like a relatively even exchange in terms of both teams. Some kills picked up on either side. Syndra, though, is now 6-2-2. Let's check the gold totals for a minute here. Syndra and Ezreal are the strongest. They both are right at about 8,000 gold as they set up to take this dragon. Wings of Death, laning Blitzcrank, is the strongest on blue team with a little over 7,000 gold. Red team is up 3-0 in towers and is ahead 2-0 in dragons, and that's where most of their advantage is coming from. They haven't really gotten too much of a gold lead off of just kills. Wow, there's a fight going on in bottom lane, and let's go back and check that out. I did miss this. Let's keep an eye on this. Oh, I see Chaos lurking in the brush, waiting, baiting this fight. He's baiting it. There is the Vayne ult. They're condemned into the wall. Silver Bolt's getting in the extra damage. Even though Aphromoo a higher level, if he takes 3 hits from condemn into the wall, he's not going to be able to win that fight, even though he's ahead overall. So that's a nice pickup there by Chaos in that little 1v1 duel. Again, the strength of Vayne is 1v1. That's what she's best at doing. Syndra now heading down the bottom lane. Let's see, will Syndra be able to pick up a kill here? No, there's more action in mid. No, not able to hit that stun on the Vayne. Meanwhile, there's another big fight going on here. One death has already fallen. Lee Sin going to jump over the wall after X Special. Time Bomb will finish that one off. Zilean is very low. Will he be able to revive himself? No, may have already used that ultimate. Right now, still chasing on to Olaf. Is he going to be able to run out of this? I think his ult is off of cooldown now. Wings still chasing this. Is he going to get this one? Yes. Will chase that one and finish it off underneath the tower. So what is that? A 3-for-1 in favor of blue team. Wings making the plays. 8-1-4 on the game. Frozen Fist, Kindle Gem. That is a pretty strong Blitzcrank. You don't see Blitz with this much farm very often. So Blitz in good position really did a nice job in that last fight and set up the team to make plays. Vayne also starting to get a little bit stronger. Bloodthirster Zeal on Vayne. Still not as strong as Ezreal, but Vayne, of course, scales much better in the late game than Ezreal does, so keep an eye on that. Zilean, though, still a lot weaker than Syndra. Zilean does have his own chalice. The difference is Syndra now has a death cap, and that makes a lot more damage for Syndra, now up to 300 ability power. Just looking at these skills here, ult dealing what, about 600 damage and about to hit level 16 for another point in that. The E, what is it? E deals about almost 300 damage. W deals about 450, and Q deals, what is this? About 400 damage. So I guess W actually deals the most damage. And also, how much does that slow for? Slows for 45%, and then because it's max strength, slows by increases the duration by 33%. So there's quite a big slow on that W as well. Again, Syndra's all skill shots, but if you hit them, she deals, you know, very, very high damage. And her cooldown on her ult is way too short. Only 55-second cooldown right now. That feels much, much, much too short. Alright, anyway, right now, teams are still feeling themselves out. It's about a 3,000 gold lead for the red team. There's a push coming in here in top lane. Looks like that is the focus for red team right now. I'll keep an eye on this. Sullla and Janna here in order to defend this. Jarvan not here, Vayne not here. They're off farming other lanes, so should be able to get some push onto this tower. Syndra trying to hit a stun over the wall. Looks like Janna did get hit, but not really anyone in a position to follow up on it right there. Static Shiv on Ezreal, wave clearing these minions, having no real trouble finishing them off. And the counter wave clear on the other side coming out from Janna, Zillion, time bombs, etc. So let's keep an eye on this fight right here. Wings running forward. He's going to grab Olaf, and that should be the start of this fight. Go ahead and slow this down so we can keep an eye on what's going on in this fight. Syndra putting down her dark spheres right now. Actually, the fight is slowed down. We'll come back to this later on. This is going to be a team fight, I promise. Wings still running around with a time bomb on his head right there, trying to run that bomb into someone. There we go. Syndra right there hits on the stun. That's going to be the initiation right there. X Special comes in and hits a pretty decent Leona ult, but Blitz will get saved by Zillion. DJ Lambo, though, has been ignited, and he is going to get finished off by Syndra. Now, Blitzcrank has come back to life. He is going to miss the grab on Aphromoo. X Special continuing to chase onto this. Let's see, Janna gets off a pretty decent ult. Wasn't able to hold the channel for too long. Wings will fall. Chaos is now going to condemn Olaf into the wall. Is he going to be able to finish this off? Yes, that's one kill for Chaos. Now the red team continuing to chase, but they might have chased a little bit too far here. They've gone past the tower. That time bomb is still on X Special's head. That's going to deal a lot of damage. Now Chaos is in the back. That's a second kill now from Chaos. He's going to use his, or Janna's going to use the exhaust onto Jarvan. That tower will go down, but the fight now continues. Now Vayne ult comes out. There's a triple kill for Vayne, flashing after Ezreal right now. There's a quadra kill, and Syndra's the only one still left alive. Needs to hit on that stun, but it does not hit on it. And now, is this going to be the penta? Yes, it is. Pentakill onto Vayne in that last fight. And wow, this game has gotten a lot closer now. 5 for 0. What was that? 5 kills? How many went down for the blue team? I think 2. 5 for 2. And wow, really seeing how Vayne can start to scale and take over in these team fights. Yeah, nobody really able to take out Vayne in that fight. Chaos picked up double buff and just kept killing people one after another. A little bit too much of an over pursue by the red team. They chased past the tower. They did get the tower, but kept going and kind of got picked apart by Vayne and also by a nice Jarvan ult by Benign Sentinel. So we've got a game on our hands, 21-20 now in kills. And the gold total has gotten very close. It's just about 1.5k gold total right now. So Vayne has Bloodthirster, Vayne has Phantom Dancer. Chaos is surely going to buy something here. He's sitting on 2,200 gold. So wow, straight Quicksilver Sash and the Longsword towards Last Whisper. So yeah, they are going to have to do something about Vayne because Vayne is very, very strong. And that Blitzcrank being played by Wings is also still quite strong, 9,200 gold. Syndra does have the most gold in this game. Aphromoo not far behind, but Vayne is actually ahead of Ezreal now in terms of gold, just off of that crazy pentakill from that last fight. Note to self, do not give Vayne a pentakill in a team fight. Meanwhile, Raimus grabbing the blue buff, picking it up and throwing it to pick up blue, a fun way to grab that. Now it appears to be building towards Rylai's. I have not heard that Rylai's is especially good on Syndra, but I could see it working certainly. The ability to slow people on her E that has quite good range. If you've noticed, those minions and dark spheres get knocked back a pretty good distance, so the ability to slow people if they get hit by that, more slow on her Force of Will, slow on her Dark Sphere. I can see that working. I'm not sure that that's a core part of the build, but I could see it working. How much MR is there on the other team? Not too much, basically just a Runic Bulwark and the Quicksilver Sash, so not too much magic resist. Probably doesn't need a Void Staff quite yet. So understandable, can see that build, but I wouldn't say that it's a core part of the build. As far as Syndra's concerned, feels like the Unholy Grail. Feels like the Unholy Grail and the Death Cap is the core build, which is a very standard core build for a lot of AP mids. It's the core build for Orianna, core build for Lux, and so on and so forth. A lot of popular AP mids. Anyway, we may have another fight brewing right here. Blue team pushing this middle tower. Red team not quite in a position to defend it. They were off doing Dragon. Let's see if this fight gets initiated. And it looks like it is starting right there. Wow, good Leona ult hitting on, what, 2 or 3 members of the team. Meanwhile, let's keep an eye on Kaox. Kaox has to deal with Olaf back here, has to deal with this. Meanwhile, Syndra is up here. Blitzcrank is very low. Is he going to go down? Meanwhile, let's see, Olaf is just about finished getting chewed through by Kaox, but oh, there comes the Syndra ult on the Vayne. Going to be cleansed, going to be hit by Janna ult, but no, it's not enough to save it, and without Vayne up, it's going to be very, very difficult for blue team to win this fight. That stun is not going to hit, but again, Syndra prioritizing the right target. X Special flashes in. He does manage to hit on one person. DJ Lambo going to get jumped on by Jarvan, but again, Lee Sin does very well against Jarvan, has many, many ways to jump out of that Jarvan ult. So a fight right there. Again, Kaox had the right idea. He did kill. Wow. Oh wow, what was that? Didn't even see. Let's go back and see that. Didn't even see Zilean up. Zilean trying to slip up here and recall, but oh, there's a ward in the brush. And that is bad news for poor Zilean. Yep, Aphromoo is on the case, and he's got that kill. So yeah, alright, not a great fight for red team. In that fight, again, Kaox playing Vayne had the right idea. He needed to chew through Olaf. He had to spend the first 5 seconds of the fight slowly killing Olaf. Olaf did a lot of damage before dying. And then while that was all going on, Syndra was able to jump in and use Syndra ult onto Vayne. And once Vayne went down, there wasn't a whole lot that blue team could do. Their team is very heavily focused on protecting Vayne in these team fights, as we see a Baron pick up on the tail end of that by red team as well. If you look at the makeup of this blue team, most of their damage, like their team is full of supports. There's a nice stun again from Syndra. Their team is all made up of supports for Vayne. Blitzcrank not going to deal that much damage. I know he has the Manamune, I know he has the Iceborne Gauntlet, but he's still not going to output that much raw damage. He's more crowd control and more support. Janna, some straight support. Zilean, an AP mid, that's basically a support as well. Zilean doesn't deal that much damage. He is more of a support-ish type mid. So really, in order to win team fights, blue team needs to keep Vayne alive. If red team's able to burst down Vayne, it's almost impossible for blue team to win a fight. And having Syndra on the team really helps because, again, she's very high single target damage. That's her great strength, is very heavy single target damage. And we were able to see that in that last fight. I thought Kaox played the fight very well, but he wasn't able to survive both Olaf's damage when Olaf popped ult and ran in, dealing his true damage. Wasn't able to survive that and a Syndra ult at the tail end of the fight. X Special as Leona also got a very nice ultimate at the start of that fight. Forced the protection away from Vayne and prevented the rest of blue team from being able to protect Vayne in that team fight. Zilean bomb a minion. I want to throw it at people. That's pretty good. Anyway, right now, Wing's in a little bit of trouble right here. If he gets stunned, this could be the start of a fight. Let's see, there's the Leona stun. Let's see if that sets something up. Syndra didn't quite hit on that stun, but X Special does hit on the Leona ultimate right there. DJ Lambo is very low. Janna out of position. She's going to get bursted down by an Olaf True Shot Barrage. Meanwhile, Syndra will finish off Wings of Death splits, and here comes the Olaf ult. Oh, the snipe on poor DJ Lambo. So 3 for 0 on the part of red team. Blue team did not have Vayne there. Kaox was actually pushing bottom lane, so blue team did not want to fight that, but they got engaged upon. That is one of the advantages of Leona. X Special forced that fight with the use of Leona's ultimate and crowd control package right there. Forced that fight, and blue team really did not want to fight that. Oh, the burst coming out right there. Zilean will revive himself, but there's the stun, and he is not making it out of this. Meanwhile, now chase going on to Kaox. He does make it back into the fountain, but this one looks like it's just about finished at this point. Still chasing after Kaox. Just has to hunker back down in that fountain and try to heal up in order to see if he can make it out of here. Meanwhile, all 5 members of red team still alive. They do still have Baron buff going right there. Wings is not going to hit that grab. The base is not in particularly good shape. Red team can continue playing aggressively here. They do still have a 5-on-4 with Baron, or they could opt to just leave the base, push side lanes. That might be safer. Meanwhile, there's the stun on Wings. Meanwhile, Leona ult is back up again. X Special going in And this fight looks like it's being turned around in favor of red team. One person goes down, another person goes down. DJ Lambo won't make it out, and now Chaos is the only one left alive. He has no protection. Very difficult. There's the cleanse, but there's not much you can do when there's 4 angry people chasing after you. So again, that fight set up by another Syndra stun on her Scatter of the Week. Hit 2 people. I know hit Blitzcrank. Then X Special followed up on that. Oh, there's another burst combo. Wow, before the Nexus explodes. Have to go back and look at that again. Wasn't even watching. Keep your eye on Zilean. Let's keep our eye on Zilean right here. He's trying to kill these wards in the base. And I think Zilean thought he was okay. He doesn't have ult up. There's the stun and the ult. Oh, the damages just gets absolutely blown up in 1 second by Syndra. So a good example of a Syndra game. A fun game to watch here. I thought you guys would enjoy this one while Syndra goes back to base. Okay. I guess didn't want to finish off the Nexus. I thought you guys would enjoy this one. A fun game. Some reversals, some back and forth. A lot of pro players involved in this game. We had a Vayne pentakill in the midst of the one team fight. And just a fun game to watch all around. So spectating some of the high elo players. And a good example of a Syndra game there. Yeah, I went back and picked up a Void Staff as time expired. So that's nice. We get to see a little bit more of what this player, what Raimus would have built if this game had gone on a little bit longer. Can I still pull up the character screen? Well, it's hidden under the interface, so you guys can't see it. Anyway, though, yeah, Syndra, a strong option. She's good in lane, and she's pretty good in team fights, too. I mean, she's not as good as other AP mids in team fights because she doesn't have AoE damage, but the stun gives her a lot of utility. The slow gives her a lot of utility as well. Plus, you can screw with the other team. You can pick up their blue buff and steal it away from them early in the game, that kind of thing. But she deals very, very high damage. Great single target burst, and she's very strong in lane. She bullies people around in mid lane, as you saw in this game. Normally, Zilean can play lane bully with his time bombs, but that didn't happen here. Syndra just got ahead and was able to exercise control. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Keep watching the channel. I've got some more announcements coming up later this week. Until next time, have a great week. Take care. See you later.